What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Real Estate Playbook. My name's Andrew, and today I just wanted to continue our conversation about looking at different factors that can qualify you for a mortgage, right? We're just talking traditional financing, getting money from a bank, really just looking at those different factors that are going to make you eligible or maybe not eligible to get a loan. So let's dive into it here. Really, a big factor that is going to determine whether you can qualify for a loan is what's called your debt to income ratio. And I know we touched on this briefly in the last video, but I just want to touch on it again because it's a huge factor when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage, right? So let's dive into it. What is your debt to income ratio? Basically, your debt to income ratio is just looking at your relative income that you earn per month compared to the total debt, right? So with your debt to income ratio, we're just looking at how much money do you earn per month compared to the amount of debt you pay every month. So right here, I've got an equation explaining just that. So we've got our total debt, everything we owe the world, divided by our total income, right? In short, that's what your debt to income ratio is. I'm going to break down some key factors here that kind of break that up, but just getting the idea, the concept out there, that is what your debt to income ratio is. Some key points you want to look at with your debt to income ratio are what is considered debt. Now, in our last video, we talked about traditional credit, thick credit. That's the debt we're looking at. So this is anything that you pay on a monthly basis, right? I've got a colleague who always says anything you owe the world. So anything that you pay on a monthly basis that's reported on your credit report, that will be considered debt. So, student loans, credit cards, any personal loans, anything that you're paying on a monthly basis that you have to pay back, that's going to be considered monthly debt, right? So that's the total. And then in terms of income, here's where it gets a little tricky. So your total income is what the bank can use for qualifying, right? So this is only the income they can use for qualifying purposes. So if you're working a side job, getting paid cash, or maybe you're babysitting, or anything that's not being reported on your taxes, we can't use that for income, right? So this is just a total qualifying income. So anything that's on your W-2 or your 1099 or anything that's, ultimately being put on your taxes, that is going to be the total income that we can use for qualifying. Another big thing to point out here is for qualifying purposes, we want to keep this ratio under 45% or less. Now, I know there's different variables that can change this, such as your credit, your down payment, things of that nature. But generally speaking, we want to keep this under 45% or less for a qualifying purpose. Now, there is different programs that you can use depending on what lending institution you're at. However, 45% is just a good rule of thumb in terms of qualifying. So that's a key factor there. And then another thing that we want to identify here is when we're looking at your total monthly debt and your total monthly income, that's going off the household. So who's ever on the loan application, that's what's going to be reporting. So for example, you've got a husband and wife, they're both in the loan. Both the monthly debts for him and her will be on the application, right? So that will be showing up on the debt to income ratio, as well as both husband and wife's income, right? Combine those together for both debt and income, and that's gonna create totals there. So to break this down here, I just wanted to go through two different scenarios, kind of showing you what a debt to income ratio might look like for a borrower. And right here, I've got just an example here, borrower one. And I've kind of got it broken down here by their debt, they're paying monthly, as well as their income, and kind of just showing you different factors. So for borrower number one, just for an example, let's just say they've got a car payment of $300. Let's say they have a student loan of $150, and they have a minimum credit payment of $50 on their credit card. So we're going to add those things up, and that's going to be their total monthly debt. Now, this is before you add in what their future mortgage payment will be, but currently this is what their monthly debt is that's reported on their credit report. Okay. Next, we've got their monthly income, and this is based off of a household income of $100,000. So if you take $100,000 divided by 12, you will get this monthly income here. So plugging this information into our formula here for this specific individual, we've got their current debt that's reporting on their credit report before we add their monthly payment, which is $500. So we've got $300, $150, $50. Add that up, we've got $500. plus what their monthly payment will be divided by the total income, and this will give you a percentage. Now, in this example, I wanted to show you what the max monthly payment could be for someone with this income and these debts. So to figure this out, you basically are taking your current debt plus what your future mortgage payment will be, add those together, that's your total, divide that by your monthly income, you're gonna get a percentage here. And right now we're going off of 45% or less. So in this example, I'm just showing you this is the max monthly payment they could have to keep their debt to income ratio at 45% or less. So this would be a mortgage payment, and this would be everything from principal and interest, your homeowner's insurance, your property taxes, maybe an HOA if you have it, and mortgage insurance if you have that as well. So this example is not showing you what you have to pay per month. This is just showing you the max amount. So basically, if you're trying to figure out what this amount would be, you're just solving for X, right? 500 plus X divided by 8,333, and it's equaling 45%. So you're just solving for X. So that's just borrower one. That's a scenario showing you what their max debt to income ratio could be. Now let's look at borrower two. They've got a little different scenario. They only have a monthly debt of $40, right? They only have a credit card. They're debt free. The only thing they're paying on a monthly basis is that minimum monthly payment they have in their credit card, right? So for most credit card companies, Discover, American Express, whatever the case may be, you can look on your app and it'll show you what the minimum payment is. That's what's reporting your credit that you have to pay per month. So for this individual, that's all they're paying per month. They don't have any, car or truck loans. They don't have student loan. They don't have personal loans. They don't own a home already. They don't have any other forms of credit reporting, right? They just have a $40 payment. And now this individual here is earning a little bit less. They're earning $6,000 a month, which is $72,000 a year. And let's just look at what their debt to income ratio may be. So for this individual, we've got their $40 debt that they have right now, plus what their mortgage payment is going to be. Now, let's just say this is you're somebody who's already out looking at homes, and you found a home, you got the price, you got what the interest rate is going to be on your mortgage, you factored in all the other different factors in the monthly payment, and this is what it came to be. It came out to $2,000 flat. Now, I'm sure it won't come out to exactly $2,000, but for this example, let's just keep it nice, clean, round numbers, right? $2,000 a month for your mortgage payment, all in. So we're going to take that 2,000 plus that 40 divided by our monthly income, right? And again, this is $6,000 of qualifiable income. This is income that the underwriter has looked at and said, yes, we can use that. Okay. So we're going to take that divided by 6,000 and we're going to come out to 34%. That is what their debt to income ratio is right now with their current debts and their current income. So pretty straightforward in terms of what your debt to income ratio is, but just again, it's your total monthly debts divided by your monthly income. And this is going to vary, right, depending on each person, but you can plug in these numbers for you and you can kind of, see where you're at before you go talk to someone, right? Before you go talk to a lender or a bank or a broker or whatever the case may be for you, you have a really good understanding of, what your debt to income ratio is. Now, I'm not suggesting this is what yours should be. That is totally up to you, but just showing you some examples and kind of just breaking out some numbers so you can kind of see where these numbers are coming from. So again, guys, hopefully this was helpful. This is just kind of straight to the point here, the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty details of what your debt to income ratio is. Again, just looking at it again here, we've got total monthly debt, which is what you already have, plus what your future mortgage payment will be. Combine those together, we got a total divided by your total qualifiable income, and that's where you get your ratio from. So again, hopefully this was helpful. This is a very important tool when it comes to looking at your financing, not only for qualifying purposes, but also for what's comfortable to you. So if you have any questions about your specific scenario, or if you want to look into this a little bit more and get some real numbers with your specific scenario, I'm happy to help answer those. Feel free to add those in the chat and I'll make sure to reach out to you and help you out. So thank you guys. I'll see you next time.